Hello and welcome back. My name is Adrina. I am the owner and accountant here at Accounting by Adrina. And this is the third and final part to my quarterly business retreat videos. I actually took a quarterly business retreat back at the end of March, early April, and it was for 3 days. So I decided to split these videos up into 3 different parts because there's just so much information jam-packed in these videos that I wanted to make sure it was easier to kind of like understand and follow along. So this is the last day of the quarterly business retreat, and I'm excited to share some of the conclusions and concepts that we talked about in our meetings together. Also stay till the end because I have some clips of a place in Las Vegas called Area 15, I believe. And that was just kind of like a really fun place to go. So I'll put in some clips at the end of this video so you can see kind of like just some of the fun that we had together as a team. So let's jump right in. Welcome back. It is day 3 of Q1 business retreat, and it is the end of the retreat that I'm recording this video. So I'll just give you a recap of what we discussed today and kind of like what we're thinking about for the next quarter. So we had 2 sessions today. In the first session, we basically talked in detail about our SWOT analysis. When it comes to the SWOT analysis, some of the items that we talked in detail about, just kind of like in broad generalities, were about our clients, the team, and then our content. So we did a SWOT analysis for each of those areas. We talked about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I won't go into detail for all of those items that we discussed, but when it comes to the client's SWOT analysis, I think the main takeaways are that there is the potential for building a new clientele with in-person events that are coming back. So networking at conferences or seminars, things like that in Pasadena, where I can be really focused on business owners. But another component to the SWOT analysis, the threat, would be the potential to lose any current clients. So that's kind of like just an example of some of the items that we talked about when it comes to the client/networking piece of it. When it comes to the team aspects, I think we have a lot of great strengths, including kind of like being able to place the subcontractors in places that they feel like are their zone of genius. We're flexible, we're open to change, we're adaptable, and I think within that builds a lot of loyalty for, working as a team. I think there's a weakness there as well because it does lack some collaboration, seeing as we're all virtual. So it's good to have these times where we come together and meet in person and discuss these things. There's a lot that happens in person as far as collaboration is concerned that is really beneficial for the organization. One of the weaknesses, though, that we see like with the team is as we add things to the business, as we grow, there is the potential for me to have too many things on my plate. So I think that's a good point of conversation to discuss with the team because they need to be able to help me delegate some of the tasks that I'm doing already, just so I can focus on my zone of genius. And one of my goals is to put more attention into my YouTube channel, which I know has been a goal of mine for the past couple of years, but I think I'm at a point this year where I can start doing that maybe in Q3, not necessarily in Q2 because we have a lot of transitions coming up. So the weakness is if there's too many things on my plate, that's just not going to be efficient or beneficial for everyone on the team. And then one of the threats could be I could lose any team member. There could be potential holes or gaps in the process. And then we can also get lost in our own tasks and kind of lose sight of the whole team working as a whole. The third area is when it comes to our content. So we had a lot of really great discussion about this, but I think for me, one of the main things is there's already so much content out there. There's a lot of content on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. I feel like the market is really saturated, so there could be an opportunity for me to stand out among the crowd but also the market is saturated, and that's also a good point for me to know. So how do I position myself so I do stand out? So those are some good questions that I need to keep asking and come back to. I think a strength is we do have a strong, recognizable brand. We're using the platforms, and I feel like the brand is really trustworthy as well. I think I built a lot of brand loyalty among the audiences that are on YouTube, on Instagram. So I think that's really beneficial and such a strength for Accounting by Adrena. When it comes to like the other pieces of the discussions that we had today, we basically really honed in and focused on what do we want to see in Q2. There's going to be a lot of transitions that I've already talked about. And so really for Q2, our focus is to be on the transition. And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything as consistent as possible, just as we're doing, posting YouTube videos, posting to Instagram. But our focus will really be on this transition that we're working on in Q2. We're going to have separate goals for Q3, but our focus really for Q2 is just making sure the transition goes smoothly and that we onboard our new team member and that she feels comfortable and empowered to do the work that she is assigned to do. So overall, I feel like the retreat was really successful. I'm really glad that we took the time out to get down into the nitty-gritty details of all of these things. And it's just really good to have all of this documented so that we can come back to it at each of the future business retreats and not only kind of come back and touch base, reflect, review, but also to dig a little bit deeper sometimes. I think this is a good foundation for us, and then we can just really grow from here. So our goals for the next retreat would be to discuss and review how the previous quarter went, identify priorities for the upcoming quarter, and the goal for that retreat will be to feel like we are focused for the upcoming quarter. Coming back to the core values list, I know I left a link down below in the description box for you guys to check out the list that we are using, but I wanted to give you guys a firsthand update on them. And so we decided at this point in time, the core values that we're going to be focusing on as a business are kindness, respect, meaningful work, success, and trustworthiness. So that is kind of going to be like what we feel our ethos is going to be for Accounting by Adrena at this point in time. Of course, we're always going to kind of come back to these core values, touch base on them, and see if those values still resonate with us. I think I see this as kind of like a movable target. I don't necessarily think these are written in stone. I think these feel really good for me right now in this point of my business. But like I said before, this retreat is completely different from the retreat that I had 2 years ago. And I'm sure as my business grows in time, things are going to change, and we're going to be editing and adapting to changes in the business side of things, changes in the online content side of things. And so I think it's just our responsibility to move and grow as things change as well. So that's all I have for you for day 3.